Yeah, go ahead, Ting, please.
Namo fundamental teacher Sakamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Sakamuni Buddha. Namo fundamental teacher Sakamuni Buddha.
All right, thank you. Let me see one more thing here. Okay. So let us continue to read the sutra. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Let's see here. Yeah, Thăng Thiên, can you read, please? The action.
Yes, more Thai. The action of the flower grow Buddha will all be as I have said. The most saintly and venerable two-legged beings will be the foremost and without peer. He will be none other than you. You should rejoice and count yourself fortunate. At the time when the four kinds of believers, namely monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen, and the heavenly beings, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, asura, garudas, kinnaras, maharajas, and others in the great assembly saw how Sariputta received from the Buddha this prophecy that he would attain a new tower Samyaktam Bodhi. The heart were filled with great joy and danced without end. Each one removed the upper robe that he or she was wearing and present it as an offering to the Buddha. Sakra, Devanam, Indra, King Brahma, and the countless sons of gods likewise took the wonderful heavenly robes, um, heavenly Mandarava flowers, and the great Mandarava flowers, and offered them to the Buddha. The heavenly robes that they have scattered remain suspended in the air and turned around and round themselves. Have, heavenly beings made the music 100, 1,000, and 10,000 varieties, all at the same time in the midst of the air, raining down a quantity of heavenly flowers and speaking these words. In the past, at Varanasi, the Buddha first turned the wheel of the law. Now he turns the wheel again, the wheel of the unsurpassed, the greatest law of all. So what they're saying is, so all the four kind of believers, the the heavenly beings, dragons, yaksas, Gandharva, Asura, and all of this being integrated family, saw that the Buddha made a prediction that Sariputta will become a Buddha, and these people was very happy and danced without end, and they removed the upper robe that they were wearing and present to the Buddha as an offering, and they also provide the among the Vara flowers and present them to the Buddhas. And these robes that they scatter remain suspended in the air and turn around and round of themselves. And they also made music and like many kind of music at the same time in the air. And there many flowers rain down and they speak these words and the path at Vajrayana, the Buddha first turned the wheel of the law. Now he turned the wheel again, the wheel of unsurpassed, the greatest law of all.
Okay, so what the meaning, the essential meanings of this paragraph then?
Its meaning is so when they heard about that the Buddha made a prediction that Sariputta will become a Buddha, and their mind is filled with great joy, and what they do, they use the robe that they wear on their body and present to the Buddha, and they play all kind of music, so that they do because they were so happy to hear that from the Buddha.
William, you have any thing to say about this paragraph?
I think I see the same sort of meaning as Tantien, that they're giving the robes in gratitude of the law that they received from the Buddha. But maybe there's a deeper meaning that I don't appreciate.
Okay, yeah, Miss Tung, you have any opinions about this one?
Other than connecting it with the previous first two sentences that were read prior to this paragraph of celebration and offering, what caught my mind was that that it said this most saintly and venerable of two-legged beings will be foremost and without peer. He will be none other than you. So that tells me that, and we've talked about this before, that he is the Buddha, but we are the Buddha of the future. So that means that there's a potential for all of us to be able to reach the ultimate goal of Buddhahood. And when Shariputra received his prediction to become a Buddha, to his that he would attain enlightenment, then everybody was happy, everybody was celebrating, and they provided offerings to the Buddha for his prediction, and that the Buddha had taught of the Dharma of the Lotus Sutra in the past, and he is teaching it again. And in his teaching, then we will all also be able to take his teaching to reach the goal, or to become to reach the wisdom and to become the Buddha of the future as well.
Thank you. John, you have anything to share about this one? John? You have anything to share?
Sure. No, not really.
Okay, please look at the last sentence, and it's pretty important. So they say that in the past at Varanasi, the Buddha first turned the wheel of the law. That's been the first time ever he taught the 5 monks, remember? The 4 noble truths. But in that, according to the Theravada traditions. But now in the Mahayana tradition, this is so critical, what they call the second turning Dhamma wheel. Now he turned the wheel again, the wheel unsurpassed, the rest, the law of all. There's this way. In the Theravada traditions, they just believe, yes, only one time the Buddha turned the Dhamma wheel. He just turned Dhamma wheel at first at the deer park of Varanasi. That means he taught monks about the Four Noble Truths. That's the first and ever teaching that he taught. But in the Mahayana tradition, this is beyond. And it has another significant meanings too. Later on, you can recognize that. For the Theravada tradition, yes, the ultimate goal to attain is the arhatship. So if someone attain nirvana, that's all with them. That's all. That's their goal, the ultimate goal. But here in the Maha traditions, no, that is just the temporary goal. That's why later on we will encounter the chapter of the transformation city. Remember that, like William and cô Thân Như. So that's why this one is so important. It's so critical. The Buddha turned second Dhamma wheel that mentioned everyone can attain the Buddhahood. They start from his position of Sariputra. That's why at first they're so delightful. And later on, the Buddha would give the position to most of his close disciples and all people, all sentient beings. So that means that the last sentence is so critical there. This will lead us to the other chapter that the Buddha emphasized. No, don't stay there. When you attain nirvana, that's not enough. You need to move on to rescue others. You need to accumulate merit and wisdom to attain Buddhahood. That's what I want you guys to do, not to attain nirvana for yourself. You follow me now? So that's so important, so critical. Yeah. Okay. Miss Thân Như, is that clear now? You have any question, anything to say?
No, Thầy, I do understand. Thank you.
Yeah. So please remember, this one is so important. The last sentence is so important. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Please, Miss Thân Như.
Yes, Thầy. At that time, the sons of gods, wishing to state their meaning once more, spoke in verse form, saying, in the past at Varanasi, you turned the wheel of the law of the Four Noble Truths, making distinctions, preaching that all things are born and become extinct, being made up of the 5 components. Now you turn the wheel of the most wonderful, the unsurpassed great law. This law is very profound and abstruse. There are few who can believe it. Since times past, often we have heard the world-honored ones preaching, but we have never heard this kind of profound, wonderful, and superior law. Since the world-honored one preaches this law, we all welcome it with joy. Shariputra, with his great wisdom, has now received this venerable prophecy. We too, in the same way, will surely be able to attain Buddhahood. Throughout all the many worlds, the most venerable, the unsurpassed goal. The Buddha way is difficult to fathom, but you will preach with expedient means, according to what is appropriate. The meritorious deeds we have done in this existence or past existences, and the blessings gained from seeing the Buddha, all these will apply to the Buddha way. So he just summarized that that since Shariputra is now getting his prediction that he will attain enlightenment, but more importantly, he will pursue that he will be able to reach and become a Buddha in the future, then that means that the rest of us will also have that future prediction or the capability of doing it as well. The law, the Dharma law that the Buddha teaches is very profound. We have seen it in the past, or he has taught it in the past, but we have never experienced this kind of teaching before. And we receive it and we will benefit from it. The Buddha way is not easy, but with the Buddha's teaching, his expedient means, meaning that the way he teaches expediently, he will, according to what conditions and what capabilities, what potential a person has, he will find the expedient and the skillful ways to be able to teach a person or groups of people so that they will be able to understand his message easily, and that way they will be able to process it. And under this way will we be able to gain and to receive his blessings. And and then we will be able to achieve the Buddha way. Having said that, I wanted to ask you that in the Theravada tradition, when he first taught at the Deer Park and he taught it to his 5 disciples, from that time until the time that he is now making a prediction for Sariputra, did he have any other predictions to any other disciples?
Not at all. I don't think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, not at all.
So that's so that is why this event is so
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
And
Really
that
good.
is why it sticks out, is because we have not had any other predictions from the 5 disciples, the original 5 disciples, to now. There is no other teaching, no other predictions of anyone being able to reach the Buddha way. So that's why it's so eventful.
Yeah. So please remember that even the Buddha taught the first 5 months, but somehow Shariputra came later and become his right hand, the most important disciple of the Buddha, not the first 5 months. So that's why in this sutra, you see that the Buddha gave permission to Shakti Buddha first, and later on, he will give the permission to the other 5 monks too. But again, Shariputra represent the disciples who has foremost in wisdom. That's why he gave the permission. Right. So, is that clear, Miss Thang Như?
Yes, Teddy.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, it is. It is clear.
Yeah, let me ask all of you the question here. Now, we know that in Theravada tradition, the ultimate goal is to attain nirvana. When you're done, you're done. You get out of the cycle of the birth and forget order, right? I remember last time I asked you, if you have a chance, would I say, okay, go to Buddha land with me, forget others, forget your wife, your children, and whoever, go with me, go to Buddha land and enjoy the time is there. Actually, probably most of us, right, we would not say no, say yes, right? Because not attachment, somehow we may feel some kind of obligation to help them too, right? Yeah. So my question is that in the Theravada traditions, yes, when someone attend Nirvana, that's all for them. They don't need to get back to this cycle rebirth again. But it's only for them, not for anyone else. Here in the Mahayana tradition, the Bodhisattva vows, made the vows that until everyone attend Buddhahood, I will become Buddha. Is that possible? So that means the Bodhisattva, the real Bodhisattva in Mahayana Buddhist tradition, made the vows that if anyone has not become Buddha yet, I would become Buddha. That means they have to wait for everyone to attend Buddhahood first before them. Is that possible? So it means everyone be Bodhisattva forever. What do you think? You understand my question now? William, what do you think?
Wait, you're asking me? Okay. Yeah, it's a very large vow. And I think the importance may be more of the spirit of the vow rather than the exact answer of what if that actually is what happens. But if they have that intention, then that's already super positive. What I kind of wonder is like, all right, well, how could a bodhisattva guide someone to complete enlightenment if they didn't have complete and total enlightenment? And at that point, wouldn't they be a Buddha? I mean, I know there are like some of the bodhisattvas only take the appearance of a bodhisattva, but they're already Buddhas. So I think it's an interesting vow, and it does pose some questions.
Mm-hmm. Do you understand that question, Thăng Thiên? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think when someone made a vow that they want to help others to become a Buddha before they become a Buddha, and they made this vow and they help many living beings this lifetime, then the power of this vow will help them to continue this journey to many future lifetimes. I think the intention and the vow that they will apply these to help all living beings to see the way. I think it will take a long journey. It will take a long journey to fulfill this vow. It take many vast kalpas to complete the vow. It does not happen in this lifetime. It will happen in many vast kalpas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Miss Thăng Như, you understand my question?
I believe I do. If I understand it correctly, it's how can we, as William had posed the question, how can we continue to help people to reach the Buddha way when the Bodhisattva has not attained Buddhahood? And I do think that it is possible, because, and this might be a very simplistic analogy, but there are people who continue to learn even though they don't receive a diploma. They don't need to get that diploma. And just because they don't reach that diploma doesn't mean that the process of learning did not continue, and the process of uh, working towards their Buddhahood has stopped. So that's the way I see it, that you can still be motivated, and you can still work towards Buddhahood, even though you say, however, at this point, I'm going to not acknowledge my Buddhahood, even though I have achieved, or I have learned, or I've motivated enough, or cultivated enough. But I will like to wait here for the rest of the people until everyone can benefit the same blessings, or the same acknowledgement, or the same achievement as I. So I don't think that, even though you don't take that last final step, doesn't mean that your cultivation has stopped. I think you can still continue to cultivate while you're waiting. So I think, for my understanding, it is still possible. Now, having said that, I do not know the formalities of what it takes to become from a Bodhisattva to a Buddha. I don't know if there are, steps or regulations or requirements or whatever, other than just mere cultivation. I do not know that part. So at that part, I have to say that I'm limited in my understanding. Does a person, even though a Bodhisattva has cultivated enough, even though he has, enough, received enough merits, can he stop there, and or does he have to take that final step of Buddhahood to be able to cultivate more to become a Buddha? I don't know if that makes sense. It just seems to me that part I'm not sure about. But in terms of cultivating, just because you carry the Bodhisattva, for me, again, based on what you have elucidated for us, is it okay to not hold on to the title and just merely to focus on the cultivation?
Thank you. Actually, in the Flower Adornment Sutra, have you read that before, Miss Tung Yu?
Can you give that name in Vietnamese?
Kinh Hoa Nghiêm.
Is it no, I have not read that one yet.
You know, William, you know Flower Adornment Sutra?
Yes, I have that thick big book that you said is like a summary of the 7 volumes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I only have the one big thick book that's a summary of them. I don't have all 7.
Can you show me? Can you?
Yeah, you'd heard of it before. You'd heard of the author.
Is that Thomas Cleary?
Yes, Thomas Cleary.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, that's the one you memorize. Oh, okay.
No. The Lotus Sutra is the one I'm memorizing.
Oh, sorry, that's good. Okay, I know. Okay, Thomas Cleary, yeah. Yeah.
I have not read it yet, though.
Yeah, but this is, well, later on, not, I don't know, if you want, we can discuss, but basically, like Ms. Tung Ye inquired, so in total, there are at least 54 to 55 stages of Bodhisattva. And in that sutra, the Flower Adornment Sutra, the Buddha spelled out clearly each stage of that Bodhisattva path. I don't know, it may take years to study. Yeah, and in the Shiramu Sutra, the Buddha state those stages too, but in brief, not in the extent, in the detail, like the Flower Adornment Sutra. Okay. Yeah. And it's spelled out clearly each stage, from the initial state to the last state of Bodhisattva. But like one Bodhisattva, actually he was a past Buddha, but because of the vows, he manifested himself as Bodhisattva to get close to the sentient being, to teach them. So those Bodhisattva, I mean those high Bodhisattva, high state Bodhisattva, they have all kind of manifestation. You can say that's sacred power to manifest themselves to help sentient beings. That's why Wang right, the compassionate Bodhisattva, she can manifest 32 bodies, 32 different bodies, different manifestations to teach others. But of course, for the initial or lower stage of Bodhisattva, probably they may not have much skill. So anyone in Buddhist, especially in Mahayana Buddhist tradition, if we made the vows to receive the Bodhisattva precept, that may be considered as the initial step for us to walk on the step of Bodhisattva path, and eventually we will climb up to the ladder, to the top. So that's Bodhisattva is the general terms of those stages, not one stage. That's why in this sutra, the Buddha mentioned about those Bodhisattva, and he gave the prediction for those Bodhisattva to attain Buddhahood, and plus the other holy monks like Sariputras too. Yeah, it's very in detail in that sutra. Miss Tung Yu, you follow me?
Yes, hey, I do. That's why I think the vows of the universal door, the Guanxi Bodhisattva and the Earth Store Bodhisattva, their vows are just so endless.
Yes.
It's incredibly amazing, especially the Earth Store Bodhisattva's vows of not becoming a Buddha until the realms of hell is empty of people or souls suffering. It's just amazing that they were willing to make these vows for for the benefit of sentient beings or souls who are suffering.
Yeah, but remember, second Buddha in the past, he made the vows to become a Buddha quicker so that he can rescue others. So every Bodhisattva or every Buddha in the past life make different vows. So not everybody, not every Bodhisattva made the vows, oh, I want to stay here forever until I want become Buddhas. Some Buddhas, they made that kind of vows so that they can become Buddhas faster or quicker so that they could teach others. Now, of course, in the case of Earthstar Bodhisattva, this is one of the exceptional cases that he want to stay there to help sentient beings. And if you especially read the Flower Adornment Sutra, you see this all kind of Bodhisattva who made the vows to become celestial king in certain heavens to teach those celestial beings. So this is again, this depends upon the vows. I mean that the past vow or original vows of those Buddhas and Bodhisattva in the past. And even some Bodhisattva made the vows to teach animal beings, that to become a dogs, to teach those dogs, the birds and so forth. So in Mahayana tradition, there's no limitation. You can say that everyone has different vows. So Thân Thiện, you can make the vows to teach all engineer, for example, right? And William, you made the vows to teach Buddhism to all medical workers, the nurse, doctor, and so forth. So everyone has different vows. So that's why somehow, if we understand that kind of mindset, and we feel more comfortable that even in the West, the Buddhism has not been heard much, but there's some Bodhisattva out there. They work for the sake of Buddhism out there, in the name of our tradition too. It makes sense, Thân Thiện?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. And
Okay, may I have a question?
yes, please.
Yes, I wanted to ask if all the Buddhas somehow are interconnected karmically.
Here.
Because I know Rahula has always been the son of all the Buddhas, and his mother has been the wives of all the Buddhas. I recently just read that, and I don't know if this is correct. I thought I read that that Guangxiyin Bodhisattva at one time was Amitabha's son in another lifetime. Is that, I am not sure if that's correct. I read that and I was very struck by the connections of these Buddhas. And so that's why our Buddhas somehow linked.
Yes. And if you read the books, Chakata tells story, it lists more than 500 past life of secondary Buddhas. And some scholar, they made that kind of data or statistic to say that like you mentioned, Yashodhara, the wife of Siddhartha, the present Buddha, has been his wife for so many lifetimes, and his son too. But for his dad, sometimes he become the father, and sometimes he become relative, and so forth. So you can say that all of his close disciples, like Shariputra, Mongolana, Kashipa, and so forth, they have close connection with the present Buddha in many, many past lives. That's why in this lifetime he became Buddha, and all of them became great arhat. So in Buddhist view, is no news because of that kind of close connection from lifetime to lifetime. It makes sense, Mr. Yu?
Yes, Thầy, thank you.
Yeah, William, it makes sense.
Yeah, I had another question. That answer definitely made sense. In the Lotus Sutra, they talk about converting the bodhisattvas. So there's a line like, and I see bodhisattvas proficient in both meditation and wisdom, who use immeasurable numbers of similes to expound the law, who delight in preaching the law, converting the bodhisattvas, defeating the legions of the devil and beating the Dharma drum. The converting, and it shows up in different parts. And I thought you had just said that a bodhisattva might be present in the West, furthering the Buddha's teachings, perhaps even within a different, I think I might have misheard you, but I wanted to check, like within a different religion. Because like the essence of a bodhisattva, which is to liberate living beings, does that exist without them being conscious of the Buddha's teachings?
Yeah, that's why in Buddhist view, we respect the leaders of the other traditions, and we consider them as Bodhisattva because they have so many sentient beings there, and we don't condemn them, but we respect them. And by the way, you know, let's talk about the like of Jesus, Jesus Christ, right? Doing according to some Christian scholar, they say that during his last year, I think they say from 12 or 13 to 30. So somehow he took up and went to India to study. And of course, he whether he went there or not, yes, those scholars provide some information. It's very interesting, but of course, for the Christian people, they would not believe that. So depend on where we stand. But no matter what, in Buddhist view, whoever helps sentient beings, we see them as a Bodhisattva. Whether they follow different tradition, we follow different religion or not, we still respect them as much as they sacrifice their life for others.
Even if they don't follow the precepts.
Yeah, that's in Buddhist view. This is so incredible. That's because Bodhisattva has all kind of special skill and experience mean to teach them. Let's put this way. As a father, right, you talk with your daughters and you know her mentality, the way she want to study, the way she want to eat and so forth. Only you, right, because you're a father, you know her more than others. That's why sometimes, let's say if someone come to the house and saw that she run around the house and so forth, like last time, she more around while you study. But for you, you will not care because you know her. But so for some guests, some people to be annoyed, right? So my point is that yes, you have the Bodhisattva for her. Make sense? And we can say that all the religious leaders, other religious leaders, yeah, they may be Bodhisattva for those followers. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Even they may or may not follow the precept. So in our Buddhist view, yeah, they don't commit themselves to follow those precepts. But for them, right, especially for the leaders, the religious leader, yeah, that's the experience meant to teach them. That kind of mentality that's more suitable for that groups of sentient beings, the groups of people, not for us. So that's why in Buddhism we have that kind of broadened views, not to focus on Buddhist view only, but we have that kind of respect to them. Of course, up to the point sometimes they may criticize Buddhism and so forth, but again, that's just their choice. But in Buddhist view, we don't see anyone as devil. We see them in the way that they on the way they on the way to they are on the way up the Bodhisattva path. It makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah. One more thing before I move on. How about Thầy Giáo Pháp? You have anything to say?
Yeah, no. I think it's you have gave us a very profound insight that I think that's very good. So I think I don't have anything to say. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, one thing I want to mention is that in the Diamond Sutra, you heard about that, like William? You know Diamond Sutra? Miss Thang Như, you know Diamond Sutra?
Yes, Thầy, I do.
Thang Thiện, you know Diamond Sutra?
I heard it, but I never read it.
Okay, so probably John, you understand? You know about that sutra, Diamond Sutra?
I think I know a bit. I can't figure out how it starts.
Okay. Here in this sutra, the Buddha say that I have transformed all sentient beings to attain nirvana already in that process. At first, this time I'm so shocked, but at first I'm so surprised. Now we are sentient beings, right? We still human beings and sentient beings. We have all kind of afflictions, and we're still here. But Buddha say he has transformed all of us already. Is that contradiction with the duality? What do you think, William?
I hadn't read the Diamond Sutra. I think it's interesting. It says that it says something like that in the Lotus Sutra too.
Yeah.
I've converted all living beings and caused them to enter the Buddha way.
Yeah.
I think, to me, when I read that, the way that I hear it is that it's like I imagine it like living beings like a big bathtub, you know, and the Buddha's realization and work is like the stopper in the bathtub has been taken out, and so eventually all of the living beings will drain out of that cycle of birth and death to Buddhahood, like it's inevitable. But some are like higher at the top of the water, so they won't drain out until the very bottom. So that's how I see it, is like the things, the teachings that the Buddha put into motion and the work that the Buddha did and is doing has already ensured that the outcome of all living beings achieving Buddhahood. That's the only way I can understand it and make sense of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Miss Tang Yu, what do you think?
I'm sorry, Thầy, can you repeat, because I had a disconnect in the reception, so I wasn't sure what your question was.
Yeah, the question is as in the Diamond Sutra, is one passage that say that the Buddha has transformed all sentient beings into nirvana, into extinction already. But here, we're still here, practical sense. So is that contradict to reality?
I don't know if it's a contradiction to duality, but I think it is the Buddha's extreme belief that, and not only his belief, but he is confident in human beings being able to follow the Buddha way and being able to achieve one day becoming a Buddha, and it is perhaps his attempt to not doubt our abilities.
Okay. Yeah, somehow this little child he went astray. Anyway, okay, sorry. Anyway, so at first, yeah, I'm so surprised how the Buddha claimed that he transformed all sentient beings into nirvana, into extinction. That's been out of this cycle of rebirth already. But later on, I could recognize as he transformed his own sentient beings, his own mind. That's why he attained Buddhahood. You got that point, William? It makes more sense, right?
Oh yeah, Huai talks about that too, about the transforming the living beings of the mind, because that are like that are thoughts and habits, and it. I do understand it, but I also want it to be the other meaning.
Okay. But still, remember, we have to work on on our own way, right?
Yes.
Put our own effort, and even in that the platform sutra, right? Up the Sid Patriarch, and he put the question. The Sid Patriarch he put the question that okay, now here you live here, you want to recite Buddha names, you want to recite Amitabha Buddha names, so that you can go to the Western Pure Land, right? But what happened if the sentient beings over there, can they go back to the Eastern Land here? What happened if we want to get back to this Eastern Land?
I don't remember that part. I don't remember.
So the point he say was that, oh, anyway, if we know, as someone were born in the Western Pure Land, again, they're pure already, and they on the way to become Buddha. Of course, because of the vows later on, after they attain Buddhahood, they would be back here to teach others. Not in the sense that, oh, I want to do East, I want to go to the West, and later they want back to the East. So another point is that, again, in Buddhist view, Buddhas would not bring us there until we want to, until we put the effort to practice, to recite Buddha names, or to practice meditation to attain those kind of meditative state of mind. And even, let's say, even the Buddha, he has a power to bring us there, but with our impure mind, we would not like to stay there. We have all kind of attachment, right? So it has a meaning too.
There's no TV there.
Maybe
There are no bars. There's no.
So again, in Buddhist view, one thing is that, let's go back to the Dhamma Sutra. The Buddha say, yes, he transformed his own sentient beings already. That's why he attained nirvana. He attained that Buddhahood. That's one thing. Another thing is that if we have impure mind, Buddha could not bring us to the Pure Land, because we would disturb those pure people over there, right? Because of our impure mind. We are attached to the environment and so forth. That's why somehow we need to work on our own mind first. Miss Thang Yu, you follow?
Yes, I'm trying to follow, Thầy.
What's that?
I'm trying to follow, and I'm trying to process your explanation.
Okay, Thân Thiên, you follow me?
Yes, Thai.
Người thầy giáo Pháp, you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, Thai. Yeah, I understand because I already understand it.
Okay. All right. We have 4 minutes. Let us go back to read the next power up then. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, William, please.
At that time, Shariputra said to the Buddha, "World honored one, now I have no more doubts or regrets. In person, I have received from the Buddha this prophecy that I will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. These 1,200 persons here, whose minds are free, in the past they remained at the level of learning, and the Buddha constantly taught and converted them, saying, 'My law can free you from birth, old age, sickness, and death, and enable you at last to achieve nirvana.' These persons, some of whom were still learning and some who had completed their learning, each believed that because he had shed his views of self and also his views of existing and not existing, he had attained nirvana. But now from the world honored one they hear what they have never heard before, and all have fallen into doubt and perplexity. Very well, world honored one, I beg that for the sake of the 4 kinds of believers, you will explain the causes and conditions and make it possible for them to shed their doubts and regrets." So here, Shariputra is saying that he fully trusts the Buddha in the prophecy that the Buddha gave him, that he would become a Buddha. And then he turns his thoughts to the arhats in the assembly, the 1,200 arhats, and basically asks if the world honored one will explain further in order to help them to be freed from their doubts, because their goal was nirvana, and they hadn't considered the possibility of achieving Buddhahood. So out of Shariputra's compassionate heart, he's now thinking about the fellow disciples and wishes that the Buddha will benefit them and clear away their doubts.
It's just a big jump, right?
Is that a what?
Is that a big jump from arhat, right? They say that they attain nirvana, become arhat. That's all. That's the original goal that the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Now the Buddha give them a push to become a Buddha. Is that big jump?
Yes. I mean, I think an arhat is a big jump to have the discipline and the appropriate karma to have everything in place to realize arhatship. But then I imagine to them, Buddhahood would seem, maybe even of a bigger jump than it seems for someone like me, because they were there with the Buddha and they saw all of these amazing phenomena around the Buddha and saw the depth of the Buddha's wisdom. And probably most of them didn't think that was possible for them. I mean, even for me, when I met the doctor who later became my mentor, I was very impressed by the work that she did, but I never thought that I could do it because it seemed too amazing.
Okay.
So I mean, I bet it would seem like a big jump. I think it would, yeah.
Yeah, how about Mr. Thung Yu? What do you think? Is big jump for them?
Yes, I think that would be a spectacular jump because it changes the perspective altogether. You thought it was this way, and now you're told it's this way, and you really have to be able to trust and rely on the teachings of the Buddha for you to be firm in your stance, or else you're going to be able to, or you will easily waver and say, well, you taught me this way and now you're teaching me this way. How do I know this is the right way? And so I think in one of the chapters, one of the chapters, it said twigs and leaves. He had some monks, and some monks had left as he's teaching, because as he was teaching, they felt this was not what they were, that this was not what they were wanted to hear. And so the Buddha said, oh, now my assembly is free of twigs and leaves, and I guess weeds and leaves, twigs and weeds, something like that. It just means that the people who didn't believe him, who didn't have faith in his teaching, left. And so I can understand how you really have to have the true faith in the teaching to be able to continue, because it is such a vast change of what you were taught. Especially for those who have completely, or they thought they had finished learning, they are at their mark, they're at their goal line, and now there is more to do. I can imagine it shakes your foundation a little bit.
Yeah. So somehow, after I read some Buddhist developments in Sri Lanka, in that country, especially during the week of Buddha birthday celebration, what they call Vesak. So people go around to tell the past life of Buddha, like how he sacrificed his life for his families, for his followers, and so forth. And they mentioned about Bodhisattva. That's mean the past life Buddha, but somehow they don't advocate the Bodhisattva path, like in the Mahayana tradition. I'm so surprised. And of course, in Mahayana tradition, somehow we don't talk much about the past life, the Buddha, the one that sacrificed his life for every sentient beings that relate to him. And so and that's why somehow it's beneficial for our children to learn those character tales. In those character tales, the main characters is the Bodhisattva. That means the Buddha past life, and that's what we talk about here, Bodhisattva path. Thầy Giáo Pháp, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think it's we are very fortunate that we are in the Mahayana tradition, because in the Theravada they do not have in the sutra they do not say anything about Bodhisattva path. Therefore, yes, they do have the Chakratha talk about the Bodhisattva past life, but in the sutra they do not have those the way that we have in the Mahayana, that we have the principle how to cultivate for the Bodhisattva path. It's so important. Therefore, they think that the Buddhahood is so difficult for them. It's almost impossible. So therefore they do not believe that they will be able to achieve that. For example, let's say that if I am let's say that if a person who is a doctor right now, right? William, and we come down and we talk to the elementary school student, and we say that we talk about how you give them the experience, that how you go through the process from the elementary to college, and how you study and how you become a doctor, and you give them all kind of the encouragement for them to see what did the doctor look like and what is the path that you follow all the way from beginning to now. That's how we give them the way that they should have ability to do it if they believe in themselves. It's important. If we do not believe in ourselves, doesn't matter what kind of path is that. we will not be able to succeed. Therefore, in Buddhism, have a faith is the most important. The faith is the most fundamental foundation that for us to walk on any path, not only the Bodhisattva path. So if we have a good faith, and that we can even be able to develop whatever the path that we focus or we go to, right? So for the kid of elementary, it's if they believe that they can be able to become a doctor in the future based on your sharing, yeah, they will do it. They can do it in the future, right? So yes,
Thank
so
you.
that is a big difference. That is a big difference for them. Jumping from elementary to the doctor degree, it's a huge difference, but it's possible, right?
Thank you. Want to have anything?
No Thầy, no more for Thầy.
Yeah. John, you want to add anything?
No.
Miss Tăng Như and William, do you have anything before we end today?
Just last thing I thought of is, well, maybe by this point, since their minds are more clear, it'll be much less of a jump than before they had achieved arhatship, and they may even be, joyous at the idea that, oh my gosh, like I could do this. I mean, that's how I felt when the doctor told me that I could do that work. I trusted her, and I was like very happy about it. So, and you see that in the sutra that they're responding with joy generally. So for them, maybe it didn't feel like too big of a jump, but it felt like a relief.
Okay, yeah. Miss Tăng Như, you have anything to share before we end today?
Are you asking me, Thầy?
Yes.
Yes. Very quickly, are there sutras down the Theravada sutras versus Mahayana sutras?
Excuse me, sorry, I get lost with the question. You say that
are there sutras that are divided up into categories of, these are sutras that are taught in the Theravada tradition versus the Mahayana tradition?
yes, yeah, it's the distinction between the Mahayana and Theravada sutra. We call sutta in the Theravada tradition, sutra in Mahayana. And let me show you, this one is the website that you can access to. Let me show you the link here. This is a website for you to go to the Theravada's library. Let's talk about the Theravada Sutra. Here you can go to, let's say, general. The titles, Abhidhamma, general titles, general information, management, agent, and so forth. Those are the list of the sutra that's been categorized according to the Theravada traditions. Have you seen this before, William?
No.
No? Okay, yeah. I used to go here to search for some short sutra to teach other people, because sometimes there are teachings is more applicable than the lofty one in the Mahayana traditions. And if you want to search for the Mahayana Buddhist Sutra, you just type English sutra Mahayana. There's plenty of them here, right here, Mahayana Buddhist Sutra. And if you compare, they acquire distinction. This is all kind of Mahayana Sutra, like Amitabha Sutra, the smaller Pure Land Sutra, and there's some sort of Here, Flower Dhamma Sutra, not all, but been translated by the Buddhist Translation Society of 10,000 Buddha, but not all. And here, there's some, not all. Diamond Sutra here. Are you familiar with this, William? This is the first time?
No, I haven't seen this website.
Yeah. I mean that these are considered as the Mahayana Buddhist Sutra. Ms. Thang Như, have you recognized those websites?
No, Tay. Sometimes I will Google and I will get something like this, but I don't pay attention to the actual site itself, where it leads me, unless I run into it quite often. Yes, but
Yeah,
I have not looked at this site in particular.
Yeah, this one like Oyster Bodhisattva. Yeah, this
Yes.
the Lotus Sutra, the Lankavatara Sutra. There's many Mahayana Sutra have not been translated yet. So this one Japanese organization tried to translate bit by bit the Taisho. Taisho does mean the Chinese Buddhist Tipitaka in Mahayana tradition into English, but they're still working on. So these are the sutra here. You can set the link. This is many of them. Yeah. Okay. And those are the sutra that has been comparable with some of the Theravada tradition here. Okay. All right. You like me to share with you the link, or you can search later on?
I think I can search for it later on. Thank you, Tay.
Okay, good. William, you want to share, or you can search by yourself?
I'll remember the access to insight.
Yeah.
And in the other one, the Huazhang in the search, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, another one is Mahayana Buddhist Sutra in English. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's just end today. Well, go ahead, please, Thang Thiện. We say Namo Sư Buddha, please.
Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.
Well, thank you. I'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you, Tay, and everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.